Good morning, everybody. I am trying to get my back into the groove over here at the studio, and we'll see if that's going to work or not. Let me get the microphones out of the way. My name's Gary, and we're going to play some Christmas music today. You should go to denverguitarorchestra.com to get denverguitarorchestra.com to get the link, or I'm sorry, get the sheet music. Go in here and post the link for today's lesson, paste, highlight, font, link, enter, edit, settings, open a new tab, update and update. So I'm running. How late am I? I'm 2 minutes late. All right, so people will be coming in. Hopefully somebody will let me know right off the bat whether the sound is any good or not. And I haven't been over here in the shop. Well, I was here for a short time yesterday, and so everything's kind of a mess. But we're going to get it cleaned up and get back in the groove. Elizabeth. Yeah, I just updated that, Elizabeth. Yesterday I was getting a haircut. Yeah, I'm very white today. Let me see if I can close that down. That's going to make me very yellow. So let's try. That's way too white. Let me turn this way down. Maybe let's put it that one. What do you think? Turn that off altogether. Yeah, that's probably the best. Yeah, I've got to work on the lighting over here. This camera and this computer are completely different than the one at the house, and they don't work as good. Vic, good morning. Happy sound is good in sunny Eugene today. All right, beautiful. And let's see who else we got rolling in here. Pauline is in this morning. Good morning, Evelyn. Yeah, I got a haircut, so now I look a whole lot more like George Clooney. Still fighting the lighting here just a little bit. Let me try turning this one down. That kind of looks like what I look like. Let's do that. All right, let's go with that. Hi, everybody. Sorry about yesterday. I did get a haircut, and then it turned out to be kind of a crazy day. And so I'm obviously all over the place using a guitar that is not my usual guitar. And so we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it sounds. I have some recollection that this thing kind of, if you don't play it exactly right, it tends to get a little buzzy on you. Let's see. Today we are working on. Let's see. So the obviously the link is working, guys, right? And let me just go make sure. And yep. All right. So we're in good shape. So let's go. Marketing, Twitter. I think what I want to do, I want to start at the bottom of the list today. I think we ran from the top down last time we got together. So let's start with We Wish You a Merry Christmas. And then we'll work our way up. I did post Jesu, Joy of Man's Desiring, not necessarily as a group activity, but as a solo piece. And so I've had a couple of students play that over the years, and it works. It's absolutely. You guys have the shorter version. I had a 6-page one that took about 4.5 minutes to play, and so I have given you the shorter version, which is plenty of music. So let's start with the We Wish You a Merry Christmas. you guys are all our regulars, so we probably don't need to go into detail about how to play it. But I do, as always, want to remind you, you have at least three ways to play it right off the bat. You can play it with chords, you can play it with melody, and you can play it with chords and melody. Um, and of course, then there's lots of options in terms of playing it as an ensemble piece. And so there's that. Let's go through. I don't think I've spoken to anybody yet today. So let's see if my voice will deal with it at all. And while we're doing that, it'll give me a chance to just double check tuning on this instrument. All right, let's give it a try. I'm going to sing a little bit. You're going to, and it's terrible, and you are going to back me up with chords in one way or another and sing your little heart out as well, right? 1, 2. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you. That A minor sounds weird. Let's start again. 1, 2. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good. We now bring us some figgy pudding. Now bring us some figgy pudding. Now bring us some figgy pudding and bring it out here. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. Good tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Okay. This is coming along. So that's one way, obviously, right? It's just strum and sing. That's how all folk musicians play and how most guitar is taught these days is you here's some chords, here's the words, let's play. Let's be a little fancier this time. Let's do a 6-beat pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, thumb. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I tend to rush the chord changes. I think I do too a little bit. I always feel like, oh my gosh, I need to get my new chord on, whatever that happens to be. Sometimes I'll pull out perfectly good chords for no reason. Let's see if we slow this one down just a little bit. 1, 2, 1 and 2, and we wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We bring us some figgy pudding now. Bring us some figgy pudding now. Bring us some figgy pudding and bring it out here. Good tidings to you, and your kin. I don't know the words. Good tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Okay. I think when you play arpeggio patterns, we tend not to rush the chord changes, right? Because you're really counting those, or I at least hope you are, feeling those beat changes coming, feeling where they're going to be happening at any given moment. I was in a way less of a hurry to change my chords doing that. I think probably your brain's full of thoughts about, okay, I got to get got to be really focused in on getting my pattern done here. And it kind of helps you count out all of your beats a little bit better when you're playing in an arpeggio pattern. I also think those of you guys that can sing, and I know several of you are pretty good singers, um, get where you play both of those systems, both the strumming and the plucking, because I do think that as a singer, one of the things that can be kind of boring if you see people who don't really spend a lot of time working on guitar, they tend to do the same things over and over, and pretty soon their songs start to sound the same. But if you get some pretty decent right hand skills, obviously nothing changes over here. You still have to do all of your chords, but the more right hand skills that you have, the prettier and more variations you can have in how you present music. And so I also think, especially with Christmas music, this business of that sounds like Christmas to me, right? This is how Christmas goes, and it always sounds like this. Unless you're Mannheim Steamroller, then you put a lot of bass in. And a violin that feels like it's wildly out of control. All right. There's my opinion on Mannheim Steamroller. Good stuff, by the way. Melody, index, middle, ring, pinky, right? First position on the first page. And the only note you're going to have that's outside of that is you do have a 5 over there on the second page. So we'll slide up, grab that 5, and come back. Had a discussion last night in my Zoom class about, when do you go to 5th position? Well, if there's 7s and 8s floating around, they're usually hanging around a 5. That's when you would go to a 5th position. But if there's just one 5 all by itself, just makes the most sense. Slide your pinky up and then slide right back down in there. That 5 is almost always going to be on the first string anyway. Your pinky's pretty comfy moving 1 fret, right, and then getting back. We just don't want him chasing all the way down here for frets 10 and 12 and all that. That's never going to work particularly well. 2-beat count in from the top, as written, 3rd string. 1, 2. Okay. The cool part about the way we have all of our sheet music set up, and hopefully you appreciate this at this point in life, is that we are able to play that even if you've only gotten through level 1, you're brand new to guitar, and you're getting ready to play fingerstyle music. You can play the melody on every single piece of sheet music on our entire website, right? That's over 100 pieces of music that you can play right now, all good pieces of music too. And so I think that business of playing melodies is kind of a big deal, especially reading from tablature. Once you learn how to play Frere Jacques, you can play all of these. And so the other reason to do that is if you do get with other guitar players, they're only going to know their chords. They're not going to know how to do that for the most part. And classical guitar players know how to do it, but and jazz guys, of course. But you don't hang around with jazz guys. But your regular run-of-the-mill guitar player, they know their chords and they'll be able to strum, and then you get to be the lead guitarist, which is very exciting. Let's go on to the tough axe here. D chord. Let's get started with that. And remember, two ways to play it, both thumb and plucking. I'm going to do thumb on the upper part, and then I'm going to switch to plucking, and then I'm probably going to switch back to thumb in the second page. Okay, from the top, 1, 2. Why are you vibrating? That's weird. Probably just need to put on new strings, probably. All right, that sounds lovely, doesn't it? It sounds like the song. Let's see, it's so good to have melodies. On this piece, I can play the melody, reading the notes. Good, tough axe is much slower. So yeah, so those of you guys that are in the process of learning standard notation, which again I told you you don't have to, but if for some of you that's is one more step in the process of becoming a musician. Um, Knowing where all of those notes are on your guitar is great. There are huge weaknesses to standard notation with guitar, and that tablature solves. And there's one weakness with tablature that standard notation solves. So I think knowing both of the systems are absolutely important. The other thing I think in the new year, I'm planning on doing a little bit of work with lead sheets. So what's happening, generally speaking, is I write out the arrangements. They're fine. They're lovely. But I also want you to get where you can kind of create your own arrangements. And the way you do that is start with playing melody, adding in the chords. And so, for example, in measure 1 here, I have written that's what I've written. But because it's a D chord and you have all this melody, if you don't have the tough axe, you would know, all right, first note is an A, so I'm going to play that 2. And then the next note's a D, which is this note here. And so if it's a D chord, I'm going to do this. And maybe I'll play that again. And maybe I'll play it a third time. And maybe again. Right? Now I've done the D chord on every single note. Sometimes that's good. Usually not. Usually it gets, especially on guitar, it gets where it's like, oh, the guitar feels like it's just out of control and living its own life. But it's a way to sort of, it's a way to get where you are just taking, hey, here's the melody, here's the chords. what do I want to do as a player to put those two together? And I think the lead sheet system is actually pretty nice in the sense that here's the melody, here's the chords. How do we go about building a piece of music from that? And we won't do it all of the time, but we will start maybe a separate track in the daily lesson where we say, all right, here's how we're going to be creating this, and then we give you a few days. So we're going to maybe a Monday, Friday type thing where you have the week to put together something relatively short. And then as you get better and better at it, pretty soon, that's all you want is the lead sheet, because you just want to know, hey, what kind of chords am I looking at? What kind of a melody am I looking at? And then you will find creative ways to put it together. I do think, however, you want to be relatively competent with tough uke, tough axe, just the general way that it goes together, because then once you understand that, and which all of you guys that are here do understand that, then it's just that next step of freeing yourself of oh my gosh, everything has to be written down. Now the melody has to be written down, the chords have to be written down. After that, your own creativity starts to come into play, and so that's what we'll be working a little bit on that in the new year. I'm working with a little I have a 10-year-old student who is ridiculously good, and I'm going to be doing some work with him on that as well. So figure, well, why not? My a little bit older than 10-year-old students will probably also enjoy doing that. So it won't be, we won't do it every day, but it'll be something that we work on. Silent Night is next up. OPQRS. So when we're talking lead sheets, this would be one of those songs where you might think about this. So your melody is, okay, and that's what you've got. By the way, I pulled up the ukulele version. I'm like, what? Wait a minute, that looks weird. Um, if that's your melody, then you look at your chord and you say, all right, how am I going to put that under there? Well, it's a G chord, which means you have these two notes here, which you might take advantage of, but then you have 3 zeros here, right? 2 zeros. So then you're thinking, all right, if my melody is, I can do these 2 strings as zeros, right? So it's okay. Or I can do what Gary has written down, which is include these lower parts of the chord, okay, which is big, right? And again, your guitar can take on a life of its own where these strings just keep ringing and ringing, and you're like, shut up. And then, of course, I've added on a couple of decorative notes at the end of that measure. So I'm at 3 strum, oh, 3 strum, indent, right? And then just a couple of decorative notes. And when you get the lead sheet, you would know, hey, here's the melody, here's the chords. I can do that. I can maybe just do 2 notes at a time and see what it would be. Well, that sounds kind of cool. That sounds dumb. Let's try 3 strings. So then you got a different texture, and then you as an arranger or as a player get to make a lot more decisions about what type of tonality you're looking for out of your piece of music. So should be kind of fun. One more level for those of you guys that are settling in and you're feeling, hey, I've got this thing. Okay. Now, importantly, those of you working toward classical music, you don't do that. You do what's written down. But those of you who are continuing on in popular or fingerstyle folk music, we want to bring our own personality and our own song choices into everything, and then you'll end up, once you do that, you are unlikely to find classical music particularly rewarding, right? That's not true. You always find that rewarding. All right, Silent Night. Let's play it through 3 times. I'd like the first time to sing and strum, the second time the melody, and the third time tough axe. Okay? Just as and so here you go, all 3 ways. 1, 2. Silent night, holy Sorry. Holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace. Sleep in heavenly peace. One, two, three. How's that for Christmas music? That sounded pretty decent, right? That's a lot of fun to play. All the different ways. Obviously, for me, singing is clearly not the way I want to present that. That's why you have a friend who knows how to sing. You just call her up. Hey, I need to do this concert, and there's going to be singing involved. What are you doing on Saturday the 12th? And you're like, oh, okay, I'll come with you. How much you getting paid? Arlo, what's up? All right, let's see. Next up on the list of the hits, let's talk about Jesu Joy of Man's Desiring. Let's go ahead and grab that for a minute and just talk about it. I don't think we're actually going to play through it, but I do think, well, we might. Let's find out. Let's think about that. Um, so I've had over the years any number of students say, "Yep, I want to do this one. It's a great Christmas tune," and it is. And you don't really hear it any the rest of the time. A lot of people just call this joy, and it. But I don't know how it got called. Started getting called Jesu Joy of Man's Desiring. It seems a little weird, but it's music, so nobody knows how anything happens really. Um, and I'm busy grabbing it here. Hold on one second. It's a long song, really crazy long, but it's also extremely repetitive. So what I gave you guys was basically a 2-minute version. Gets the idea across. Lovely to play. Um, Definitely want to probably just focus in on the melody side of things on this one. And I did give you all the chords in case you uh, wanted to do that, and play the tough uke thing and all that. But it's not necessary really. It's just a nice piece of music, and the melody itself will carry you through the whole thing. Plus, a lot of you guys are into playing classical, And so here you go with a little Bach. All right. G H I. There you are. Gosh, so hard to get a hold of things sometimes. So what I did on the chord side was just give you two notes at the beginning of every measure, so that just as exactly what we're talking about with Silent Night, rather than doing a full strum, which you could do. Right, so that's a lot of strumming. What will happen on a piece like this is it will start to get very cumbersome in the lower range. Your guitar will just keep vibrating along, and it'll start to not sound particularly Baroque. It'll start to sound a little just I don't know. It won't sound Baroque. Whereas if you're just playing two notes at the beginning of a measure, uh, it sounds a little bit, and I played it poorly, but it sounds a little bit more like a harpsichord and a little bit more like Baroque music. And so I definitely think that would be a fun way to play it. Clink, 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 right? And just be using either these two fingers or these two fingers for everything all the way through there. And, or what I would do, I'd just use my thumb and play it just the melody and see what happens. And you'll see, it sounds amazing. Let's play just a little bit of it, not fast, not as fast as you will play it, but just to run through it, just to see what's here. Okay. So from the top, it's in 3/8. That means there's going to be 3/8 notes in every measure. I originally had it in 9/8, and it felt very cumbersome at 9/8 and hard to count and all that. So it's just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. By the way, if you memorize this, you can go play weddings. From the top, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 52. 58. 64. 78. 94, 95. Okay. I guess you could put a low G in there to finish up, or maybe both. What about that? Or all three. That would be a 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom, and then your open G string. There's that. Measure 70. Maybe what happens at 76? Oh yeah, 76. That's where there's this. That's where it sounds like classical music, right? And you get that weird naturalized F note in there, and that's where you're like, oh yeah, we're playing classical music. We're pretty legit. So it's short, gives you the sense of the song. If you go through and work the tough uke up a little bit, I think you'll really, it's just going to give you 2 notes at the first of each measure to give a little bit of a flavor of the chord. It will sound very complex and very Baroque-ish. If you put the full chord in, it gets where it's just overwhelming and it's just too much. And so I think just especially a metal string guitar is going to sound like a harpsichord. And probably on a nylon string guitar, it will probably just sound like classical music, which is what you're after anyway, right? And then I think the big key with this one is just keeping going, right? Just really, really don't let your mistakes eat at you. Just move on to the next note. Bum 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 bum. You'll also feel it starts to feel repetitive. It is kind of in some places, but not really. I mean, it's typical Baroque. They're just always trying to modify and add a little bit of here, this, or that, and so it feels sort of repetitive, but not necessarily. And then I think the other thing is those places where you do get a little bit of a relief. At 26, you have a quarter note. At 63, you have a quarter note. Make those moments where you're just sort of like, okay, audience, whew, all right, here we go again, and hopefully, hopefully that will be a fun one to play. Again, keeping the pace steady is really important. And then I do think the other thing, I was fighting a tiny bit, that pinky 4-on-4, okay, you have to be able to do that in order to get the tough acts out for sure. You can't be sliding your ring finger up to play fours. You got to play your fours with your pinky. If you do that, it will actually end up being quite instructional and playable, right? Which is what almost all of our music is. Here, this will teach you something, and it'll sound cool, and it's a good idea. So there we go. That's our new song of the day. I'm working really, really hard to get a little bit of a Hanukkah medley together. Most of the tunes in the Hanukkah stuff I'm not that familiar with, so I'm struggling with just making sure it sounds like what I think it's supposed to sound like. And I'll be posting that either this afternoon or in the morning, so we'll be having that one for tomorrow. Let's go play Greensleeves. Time is it? Yeah, we got time to play Greensleeves. All right, Greensleeves. There we go. I think all of you guys have been hanging out. I don't know if I never am sure who's hanging out up in the widget who hasn't said hi. So we'll just take a couple of moments to review a couple of moments in the song that are pretty important. So the difficult part of this song, the melody does go all the way up to 7s and 8s right off the bat. So if you're playing melody, being mindful, hey, maybe on this song I'm going to start off in the 3rd position. Right, so be thinking about possibly playing in that position. The other choice would be playing in 1st position and then sliding up to 5th position to get those 5s, 7s, and 8s, and then sliding back into 1st position. That's probably a better choice here, rather than going from 3rd and stretching to 8. Stretching usually doesn't go particularly well. So there's that problem. And then it does go all the way up to 10, right? So make sure you know where your 10 is. And on this guitar, and it's got the stock strings on it. It's going to be like wank. You know that you're supposed to change your strings every year, right? When you buy a guitar, you play it for 6 months and then you change those strings out because the ones they put on it at the factory are not the best ones. Okay. So make sure you know where your 10 is when you're playing the melody. And then on Tough Uke, remember this is Tough Axe. This is the one where you're going to do index, middle, and pinky. And if you get that clean and pretty, you're going to just be so proud of yourself. Doesn't that sound really pretty? If you can do it. And all you're really doing there is that famous D chord with your pinky on 5. You're just doing it up on fret 7. Okay. So let's play it. Oh, the other one I should mention. You do have your B7 with your pinky on 4. It's never fun. And then at one point you have to go back. You have to grab the 2 and back up to the 4. So that's something to work on. That's going to come up, by the way. This is a shape, that's a B7 shape with your pinky on 4, where the melody note is. That's going to come up in other songs, and so we might not like it, but it is a decent song to practice that on. 3 times through, play it whatever way you want to play it. I think I'll do chords and singing, and then I will do the melody, and then I will do Tough Axe. I think is how I want to do that. Okay, let's give it a try. We have enough time. We only got 48. Well, we got 2. You guys are good. We'll go away. It's not that long. 1, 2. What child is this who laid to rest on Mary's lap is sleeping, whom angels greet with anthems sweet, while shepherds are watch are keeping. This is Christ the King, whom shepherds guard and angels sing. Haste, haste to bring him, Lord, the babe, the Son of Mary. To the top. Top. Oops, I'm sorry. Let me get the right chord on. 1, 2. Nice, right? Very pretty little tune. Oh, Elizabeth snuck out early to go grab a piccolo. She's you guys may or may not know this about Elizabeth, but she's a lifelong, very fine flautist. And so um, I'm delighted to hear she's out picking up her instruments, keeping her hands in the game. Guys, hopefully that's going well for you. Tomorrow we will continue up the list. If somebody will remind me tomorrow, we will start with First Noel. We'll play El Noir. El Noir is pretty well known among classical guitarists, and so because Segovia did it, was one of his favorite tunes, and so for those of you looking to dig into classical just a little bit, my version, of course, is different than his version, but it is well, his is unbelievably beautiful, but ours is just lovely as well. And so it's a well-known tune, and it gets played in different keys and so on because it's a traditional tune. But we'll play that one again tomorrow. Christmas is Auld Lang Syne, and hopefully I'll have that Hanukkah medley posted first thing in the morning. So we'll do that, and hope you guys are having a great day. And I will see all of you, some of you later today for the other classes, and then I will see the rest of you tomorrow. Be safe. Try to do a random act of kindness. Practice a little bit. Guitar, you got to practice, guys. I don't. The other instruments, I'm like, maybe you practice, maybe you don't. This one, you have to practice. Keep showing up. That's also key. And then subscribe and like if you haven't done that. And I will see all of you guys mañana. And a couple more weeks of guitar, right? And then we'll be sick of Christmas music. And then we'll start something up new in January. All right, Arlo, Pauline, Vic, Elizabeth. Who else did I miss? Vic. And it might be everybody who said hi today. Have a good day, you guys. Talk to you later.